everybody to the training that we have. I'm going to start with a little bit of history for me on this training. We've been doing this training for, like I said, over 21 years, Friday trainings, but the Christmas training particularly is interesting for me because with this training, the first year I did it, wasn't virtual, obviously, and we sent out people to learn about giving because giving is experiential. And it was incredible. Tears, PR, Pratt. I mean, everybody was so excited. It motivated Orange County to give, and we sent all of our employees out with money to help whoever they could, and books as well, because some people need empowerment and some people need just straight cash. And it was amazing the first year. So I decided to do it the second year, but I was a little bit wary because my employees all had experience giving. And, I was worried that it would not have the same impact. But here we are almost 2 decades later. And as you'll see from this just quick video that I'm going to play, once again, even though everybody knows what's going to happen, knows the power of giving, and I'm trying to teach coherence in giving and receiving, they have the same exact experience. It's called the dose of happiness. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins are released to the givers, receivers, and witnesses. So I'm going to allow you to witness that. We're going to play a quick video as well. Turn up your volume. If you don't have it, we'll post it and send it out. But go ahead, Matt, play the giving video if you don't mind. I want you to go in under the context of the greatest gifts are given and received and witnessed. Make sure you look people in the eye and tell them they're blessed. What I have found is no matter how much you teach giving, that it's an extremely experiential thing. I went to New York with $100 bills, and anyone I felt needed it for any reason, I gave it away, because I have found that experience matches nothing else that I can do. I walk away crying, I feel so good, and I've never felt that way in spending $100,000. I've never felt the same way that it feels. The idea of giving and receiving is that it is the Holy Spirit of when you give of yourself. You need to really appreciate what you have and acknowledge it. I want you to go in under the context of the greatest gifts are given and received and witnessed. You're going to buy somebody what they need. So you're going to go somewhere where you can buy the whole line at Starbucks. You can go to the mom that's, you can see her looking at the prices and putting things back. Whatever you do, you're going to use that money in that manner. Make sure you look people in the eye and tell them they're blessed.
Today we are giving back to those who need it during this holiday time. Be grateful for what you have, and the more you receive, the more you can give.
Even though there was a language barrier and we didn't necessarily know what we were saying to each other, or didn't know what I was saying, he still understood that the whole purpose was to give back to him.
And we throw that money away all the time without appreciating, taking for granted what other people are wishing for.
It really hit home because as a child, my parents didn't have a lot to give. Even when we went to like the 99-cent store, or like a Ross or Toys R Us. But as kids, we'd run up to something and they're like, "Sorry, we can't do that right now." But just to see the eyes glow on the little girl that she was with, and it was just amazing, amazing experience.
The kid grabs his fire truck, and then in the back of my mind, I'm like, let's get more. She kept saying too much. And so I was like, no, let's get more. And the kid was just in love with his fire truck now. He wouldn't take his eyes off it. So I was like, screw this. So I went outside and I got a shopping cart, and I came back in and I see this car, the Mercedes little car that a kid can drive around. So it's for age 3 to 6. So I grabbed that, I put it in the cart, and I turned the corner, and she looks at me and she just starts crying. And I tap the box and I'm like, "For your son?" And she just starts crying, and she's just like, no. And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I'm like, "We're filling this cart up." And she just literally kept saying too much. And I was like, "No, you're giving us a gift. You're allowing us to give to you, thank you." And so we eventually check out, and her son starts crying. And she's like, "Oh, where's the fire truck?" All he wanted was the fire truck. And it just made me realize how much we take for granted. Where this kid was just all he cared about was his fire truck. And her mom just kept saying grab any toy. because I just kept thinking back in my mind, like, I want her to go home and feel like, to be a hero for her kids, that like, it doesn't matter what the gifts are, but the fact that her tree is gonna be like loaded with gifts, and that her kids are gonna think, her parents are heroes. Even if it's just a little Barbie doll with a fact up, there's just gonna be like a lot more gifts under the tree.
And they may never forget that Christmas.
Yeah.
Remember how you feel. I've had so many moments this year where I've been able to identify how I feel and comparatively say, God, I feel much better helping other people with this. If I have a choice now, I know where I'm giving my money, where it makes me feel best. And so we want to teach people that. I think that's a great aspect of being able to provide for people, is to be able to provide for ourselves that perspective. All right. Just a little context of how this all got started over 2 decades, and it keeps getting better and better. So I'm going to give a quick training on something that people have difficulty with, the oneness of giving and receiving. I will be answering questions, so please, as always, make sure you put questions in. For Clubhouse, we'll bring people up, so make sure you're thinking about what resonates with you. We do have a 14-day gratitude challenge, so please join me on that. And if you complete it, you get the Dave Meltzer care package, the books, guides, exercises. I'll sign a book, send it to you, even pay for the book and shipping. Don't worry. 14-day gratitude challenge. My bio, david@dmeltzer.com. david@dmeltzer.com. It'll be in the notes. Please give me your questions. We'll have a giving worksheet as well. And, let's get started. So, first thing to know about giving is it is the most viral of all energies. Forget the coronavirus. This thing is amazing, and it only heals. It does no damage. See, when you give, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins are released in your system, and it makes you happy. It's an automatic connection, reconciliation of the embodiment and the higher spirit. That's why you get the gift of dope, the dopamine dose of God, right? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin wants to reward you for giving. But the interesting thing is the same exact thing happens when you receive something, right? Once again, you get the gift of God into the embodiment, into your body, called the dose of happiness. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins are released. So those who give and receive both receive the godly gift of dose. And then the most remarkable thing, and why it's the most viral thing, you can wear a hazmat suit and, any type of, you could have a suit of armor, it wouldn't matter. If you witness giving, the same dose is given you from God, given from a higher source, whatever you believe in, that is a signal that you're doing the right thing. Notice I said giving and receiving. Both are doing the right thing. And, I've been blessed to live in all 3 worlds that exist. And my relationship to giving and receiving has changed throughout those worlds. And as I give more and more and receive more and more, my understanding of that relationship has also expanded. And so the first world is the world I was born into, the world of not enough, with my single mom, 6 kids, a woman who had given her life away, taught me appreciation in the world of not enough, appreciation of everything that I had, that perspective that I would appreciate everything I have, which actually allowed me to expand what I had. Because when we appreciate things, it adds value to it. So in the world of not enough, appreciation is critical, but I also acknowledged what I had. So everything I had was either given away, taken away, stolen away, or lost. All 3 have the same effect, called acknowledgement. When things are given away, taken away, manipulated away, stolen away, or just, lost, we get to acknowledge what we have. So we add value by appreciating. Acknowledgement, acquiring the knowledge of what I have, only happens when it is given away or taken away. And we could have the same reward either way when you have unconditional abundance in your life, when you do live in a different world. But the world of not enough, we only see it as giving, not taking, manipulating, or losing. Those things make us feel worse. The hardest part I think, in living in the world of not enough, the scarce world, is that we are afraid to receive. We feel bad, inadequate, separate, inferior when we receive. And we see that in the exercise that I did at my office, where everybody goes out, where people are, they don't want the gifts. They initially, they feel bad about needing help. I've been asked many times, when I go to New York, I started with $2 bills. Now I give $100 bills when I walk around New York. And one of the mentees at the meetup said, Dave, isn't that counterproductive and intuitive of empowering people? You're entitling them. Look, if someone's living in the world of not enough, you can't give them a book. I mean, you can, but it's not going to have the same impact if you're living on the streets of New York. Maybe you have, mental illness or other challenges. Sometimes you just need money. You need food, a blanket. You need something, an acknowledgement for you that people care. That's why I look people in the eye, or have my children look them in the eye and say, God bless you, and hand it to them. And I think the acknowledgement is worth more than the money when we do that. And so don't be afraid to give to those who are living in the world of not enough. Make them feel good about receiving, because the more they receive, trust me, the more opportunities and options they'll have. And it's amazing, because I had nothing and I felt bad about receiving. I felt bad about asking. Remember, the superpower is asking. We are given a co-creation certificate when we're born. And in order to effectuate that co-creation certificate, we have to ask in person, on the phone, via email, and social media. We need to ask. And we won't ask if we feel bad about receiving. So you need to change your relationship if you're living in this world of not enough, and you need to ask for more. You need to. Now, one of the things that I looked upon, even as I entered other worlds, of more abundant worlds than the world of not enough, was that not only did I have to get over the fear of receiving, the inadequacy of receiving, the separation of receiving, but also of asking. I have left millions and millions of dollars on the table. And I know that because I'm making it now, utilizing what I call an overlap agreement. It's a memorialization of a relationship, of how I could be of service or value to people, and how they could be of service or value to me. And so, it's so critical for me to memorialize. It's a non-binding agreement. It's not about trust. It's about memory, remembering, reminding, and recollecting who is in my sphere of influence, and who I've made promises or representations to help, and who can help me. And so whether it be, the barber that I use, the dentist that I use, the dermatologist that I use, or a multi-million-dollar real estate person, I codify, memorialize through an overlap agreement. And I'm happy to send you this template as well. And I ask. I'm not afraid of receiving. I ask, how can I be of service or value? And do you know anyone that could help me? And whatever relationship or type of opportunities that exist, I codify them. It's a digital document, so I can search them. So if I put in dentist, it's going to bring in my dentist, who promised me $100 credit for anybody I refer to him. And he gets 20% for anybody he refers to me, for speaking engagements, coaching, whatever it may be. And I'm more than happy to do that. But more importantly, we got to get out of the world of not enough, utilize the overlap agreement. Once again, get my contacts are right here, david@dmeltzer.com. It's changed my life. Just think about how many times you've helped people, and because you didn't ask, you left money on the table, you left opportunity on the table, because you did not ask for how you could be of service and how you can be helped as well. So those are all things in the world of not enough. I think the bigger challenge in the world of not enough is not appreciation, because usually people who have not enough appreciate everything they have more than those that live in the other worlds. Acknowledgement is something that is a binary type of opportunity that most people that live in the world of not enough, they acknowledge what they have by giving it away, but they haven't reached the stage where they can acknowledge when things are taken away, manipulated away, lost, and the lessons that come with it. That acquiring the knowledge of the lessons is more important than the loss. You don't know what you have until it's given away or taken away or stolen. It doesn't matter, manipulated away. All are a benefit to you as long as you, which is the most difficult thing in the world of not enough, is ask for more in person, on the phone, via email. Now remember, load up the questions for me. Go ahead, put them into the chat. Clubhouse, get ready as well. So the second world, in the world of abundance and giving, is a world of just enough. It is also a scarce world, but it's a world where we're negotiating and calculating. It's a very calculated model, the world of just enough when it comes to giving. It's a trade, right? I'll give to receive. Everything's for me. In the world of not enough, it's to me, like a victim. That's why we feel bad about receiving, because we're victims. Here, it's for me, and we will receive, but we feel as if in order to receive, we can't receive unconditionally or give unconditionally. There has to be some calculated business or personal thing. It's amazing during Christmas or holiday season, how many people say, well, should I give that person? They didn't give me this. Or, one of my siblings is classic, right? They almost want to be exact on giving. If you give me this, then I'll give you this. It's all a trade or negotiation. It's calculated. It's scarce. And although we're a step above, being separate, inferior from receiving, here now we still are afraid to receive because we can't give or receive unconditionally. Tiger Woods. Yeah, welcome. That's amazing. Kevin. All right. David at dmeltzer.com. You live in this world of just enough. And so everything's a competition and comparison, which robs your joy during what should be the joyous season, the holidays. We're calculating who to give to, how much to give to, and everything becomes an exhaustion and interference. In the world of just enough, we have to understand and learn that we can't buy things to impress people, to trade with people. We can't give to charity with an expectation of, recognition and acknowledgement. We only acknowledgement that we get is by giving it away, or losing it, or having it stolen, or having it manipulated from us. That's how we acquire the knowledge. When you do not have what you used to have, that's what we acquire now. Appreciation, of course, with gratitude, everything adds value, but we have to acknowledge, then we have to ask without conditions or judgments. We have to ask unconditionally. And in order to do that, it's really interesting. I tell this story about living in a world where money buys love or happiness. So love and happiness is a negotiation or a trade for many of us. We give the gifts to our kids thinking they'll love us more. We're disappointed if we can't give the kids what they want for Christmas or the holidays. That's living in the world of just enough. This appreciation, acknowledgement, and ask formula to receive the gift of the higher source of God, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Joseph Smith, we have to give unconditionally. And when we do, when we give, receive, and witness that, the dose will be given to you. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, a natural healer, a natural way of feeling good and being happy. Now, the last world in which we live in is the world of more than enough. Now, the world of more than enough is an abundant, overwhelming world. It's an amazing world. So many people today, with the non-viral virus comparatively to giving, they feel overwhelmed. We feel overwhelmed. I tell you all the time, feeling overwhelmed is proof you're living in abundance. Now take advantage of it. Learn to prioritize. See, prioritization is the antidote to procrastination and being overwhelmed. When you know how to prioritize, you feel blessed for having too many options, because there isn't too many options. You have more than enough. That's what it is. And I want everybody to live in the world of more than enough, where they can appreciate everything they have through prioritization, acknowledge it whether it's lost, stolen, given, or whatever, as long as it's acknowledged, acquiring the knowledge of what you have, then ask for more. Because when you appreciate, it expands. When you acknowledge it, it empties it. And when you ask, it fills the bigger portion. And, I'll take my mom for an example. When I lost everything, one of the hardest things for me, I lost over $100 million, was to go and knock on my mom's door and tell her that not only I had lost everything, but I had forgotten or didn't know to take my mom's house out of my name. And I lost that. So I had to go tell her that I had lost everything. And at that time, my ego would have been one in which I may have not been in existence. If you told me, years later, 16 years later, that I would tell everyone that I lost everything. But at that time, I was not in the world of more than enough. And I was extremely insecure and embarrassed, but I had to tell my mom. And not only did I have to tell her I was bankrupt, which was in my mind humiliating at the time, but more importantly, I had to tell her she was moving, that I'd lost her house and I had to find a different place for her to live. And so when I knocked on that door, I thought to myself, oh, this is going to be like Sanford and Son, right? Elizabeth, I'm coming. She's going to drop and that's going to be it. And, in my mind, in this world of just enough, money buys love and happiness. Everything's a competition and comparison. I competed with my siblings and I thought, all these horrible things went through my mind. And when I told her, without a tear, without anything other than unconditional love, she said to me, "Are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you need some money?" I said, "Mom, I don't think you heard me. I lost everything and you need to move out of your house. I lost your house. I heard you. Are you okay? Do you need anything?" And at that time, I realized, although I thought I had so much more than my mom in the world of just enough, that my mom had figured out how to live in the world of more than enough. The unconditional love and giving and receiving and witnessing that occurred from that moment led me to reevaluate a paradigm that money does not buy love or happiness. Money does not buy love or happiness, but it does allow you to shop. I never could reconcile the importance of money until I realized it was a currency. It was an object of energy that I put into the flow to get what I wanted. And there was more than enough of that energy as long as I could give and receive. The more I received, the more I could give. Therefore, money, the currency of money, allows me to shop. And I needed to learn to shop not only for the right things, but for the right reasons. So although I had a Ferrari, that was the wrong reason, because I wanted to impress people with the Ferrari. I wanted to feel as if my mom would be proud of me and other people would be proud and want to do business with me. But the opposite was true. Most people just thought I was an a-hole, and I'd spent more time and more money taking care of the car than I took care of myself, which had to change. My priorities were all messed up. But if the reason that you bought your Ferrari is so that when kids come up to you and say, "Hey, are you an athlete or are you a rap star?" You say, "No, I read books and teach people." There's a great reason to own a Ferrari. There's a great reason. And if we shop for the right things for the right reasons, we can live in the world of abundance, the reconciliation of the giving and receiving and witnessing, the reconciliation of the embodiment with its dose, the gift from God, from giving, receiving, and witnessing, in a world of more than enough of everything for everyone. That's the idea of the overlap agreement. That's the idea of giving and receiving. Now, I want you to think about being able to, during the holidays, not live in a world of scarcity. And if you're living in that world, it's okay to receive. You need to ask for what you want. Ask from what you want, right? The whole premise of everything I teach is that there's something bigger than us that loves us more than our own parents love us, or we love us more than we love our own children. So why not ask? Ask in person, on the phone, via email. Ask the universe for what you want and clear any interference that you may have to receiving. Don't give in a world of just enough as a negotiation or a trade. Don't count. Don't count other people's money or other people's gifts. Don't calculate whether you should give somebody a card or a gift because they gave you one, or they're going to give you one, or you're worried about it and then you worry about the amounts. Don't do it. Live in the world of more than enough. Know that you appreciate what you have, acknowledge it, and then ask for more. That's the abundant world. See, what happened to my mom, and I'm going to finish up on this, so make sure you put plenty of questions in there for us. But what happened to my mom is really interesting, because my mom lives in a world of not enough. Grew up, her parents were in the Depression. She grew up, with this energy of not enough, and she appreciated everything she had. And she gave all of it away, no problem. But she couldn't receive. She felt bad about receiving, asking, all of this. So what happens? You appreciate what you have, you expand it. She acknowledged it by giving away to her 6 children, who all are purposeful, passionate, and profitable. She gave away to her schools that she worked with, her community, the Sunday schools. She gave away everything, not just her money, but her health. She didn't prioritize herself. So at 80 years old, where's my mom today? She appreciated everything. She gave it all away, but slowly, surely, without asking for more, it dissipates, dissolves, and she gives away her health and her happiness and her wealth. Now the exact opposite of what she wants in her life is occurring. What is that? That she's relying on the people that she wanted to help the most, which they don't mind. But I know my mom had such a great capacity, and she does. She's such a powerful woman that if she just would have asked, she's been living in the world of not enough for far too long. So many of us live in the world of just enough, which becomes quite apparent during the holidays, of trading, negotiating, worrying about what to give, what not to give, how much to give, what not to give, etc. It's amazing how much time, energy, emotion, and value is wasted. I want everyone to spread the greatest virus ever created, happiness. And the vehicle that we use to distribute happiness is called unconditional giving, receiving, and witnessing. Remember, there's no hazmat suit, no mask, nothing that can stop happiness. It doesn't matter. When you give, happiness happens. When you receive, happiness happens. Both in the spiritual, emotional, and physical realm. We get a dose of reward, of encouragement, of confirmation from the higher source every time we give and receive. But what makes it so amazing is when you witness giving, the same exact thing occurs. It doesn't matter. The most viral of all things, giving, receiving, and witnessing. I want everyone to be happy during the holidays. I want you to have the right attitude and perspective. Please join me for the 14-day gratitude challenge. I have a giving worksheet for you. Please put your Q&A in here. We got tons of questions coming in, so I appreciate that. I want to thank everyone. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com, if you want either the overlap agreement, if you want the giving worksheet, or the 14-day gratitude challenge. It's simply david@dmeltzer.com. All right, Jakey Bakey, I'm going to take a question online. If you can get somebody ready on Clubhouse. Does that sound fair?
That sounds great. Thank you so much for that training. First up, we've got Kimberly after you take a question on Zoom, Dave.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, and I want to thank everyone. I can't believe that this training, which started with Lee Steinberg when I ran the sports agency, which was originally mostly a sales training, over 55,000 people registered online for this, not counting IG, TikTok, and Clubhouse, and Twitter Spaces as well. So if you guys haven't checked out Twitter Spaces, it's amazing. All right, here we go. What's the best way to show you appreciate people this holiday season? Acknowledgement. Acknowledgement can be telling them how much you appreciate them, giving them something as a token of acknowledgement. But for sure, The best way to show your appreciation to people is to acknowledge them. And that can be done in a variety of different ways. Learn by being more interested than interesting. Ask open-ended questions about what can you do to be of service or value to them. It may be buy them lunch. It may be spend a day with them. It may be take them to a Charger game. You know, it just is amazing. I have a very close friend who I love, and I've known her since junior high school. And her husband had a stroke, and she's working 2 jobs, and she has these incredible children who are huge Charger fans, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them for being great Charger fans. Anyway, all they want for the holidays is to go to a Charger game, right? Now, when I knew exactly what they wanted, I was able to create an amazing amount of appreciation for our friendship. And of course, she's like, oh, I do all this career training and anything your kids need, but I didn't do it for anything in return. I received more than she did, or her children did. Man, I can't wait to go to the Charger game with them. And that's why I ask for more from all of you. That's why I want all of you to work into the 14-day gratitude challenge and look at the giving worksheet and all these things, because I want you to feel and experience giving. That's why I do the giving training every year, even though it's the same thing. And that's why I do that, so you can experience it. Remember, the subconscious only works in emotion. It doesn't work in some, quid pro quo, good, bad morality situation. You will remember, remind, and recollect, connect to the greatest source through the emotions of how you feel. So you need to experience this yourself and keep practicing that experience. All right, Jake, we're ready for our first friend on Clubhouse.
Okay, we've got Kimberly Lechnick. Kimberly, welcome to the Clubhouse. What question do you have today?
You know what? Thank you so much, Jake. This is absolutely phenomenal. And thank you, David, for your 14-day gratitude challenge, because I did follow through with that challenge. You can't ask me enough to, to practice and lean into gratitude. So I don't know if I necessarily have a question, but I was wondering if I could do a quick share. Would that be all right?
Yeah, I would love that. Do a quick share.
Absolutely. So when you're talking about gratitude and giving, there's not often that I find myself in spaces where people are talking about the very thing I love to do. Because that's what I do. I anonymously give often, because for the very reasons you were talking about. But there's one time in particular that really kind of comes up for me. And my family and I were out in the community a couple of years back, specifically, and we were eating. And this gentleman had come into the restaurant, and it was a fast food restaurant, and he came into the restaurant and he went immediately to the garbage can, and he started kind of going through the can, and I'm like looking at the food on the table, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like, I pick it up, I pick up almost half of what we had, and I went over to him and I said, here, this is for you. It wasn't a holiday or, anything. And he turned around and he said, for me? And I said, absolutely for you. But it wasn't that really made a difference. What was just amazing that happened after that, and I think you spoke to that, David, was that the whole restaurant then, it was almost like a ripple effect, where there was so much giving that day, that when you were speaking about the dopamine and all the good feelings firing, it was that day. So I just wanted to share my appreciation with you, David, for what you do and what you're teaching people to do with your overlap agreement, that I absolutely love. And I can't wait to learn how to use the agreement to give more, because we need more people in this world that are open to giving, just for giving's sake. So thank you so much for allowing me to share, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you. Yes. And thank you for allowing us to be witnesses. I can tell you that I was emotionally impacted by the story, and feel better as an audio witness to that story, even though time has passed since it happened. It's amazing if we share these experiences with others as well. And so I really want to thank you. And I think I'm going to do, if and let me know, give me the clap signs or thumbs up on IG or whatever. I'd like to do an overlap agreement training where I teach people how to use that, what language to use to ask how you can be of service or value, where the open-ended question guide fits in to learn about how we can be of service or value, so that we can create more givers, receivers, and witnesses. And in that mission, to help me and you, being one of the 1,000 people I know in my lifetime that will empower 1,000 to empower 1,000. So thank you so much. Jake, why don't you tell me who's on deck, and then I'm going to take a question online and we'll go to that person. Who's on deck?
We've got Eric on deck when you're ready on Clubhouse.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Here we go. What kind of research are you doing going into the new year? Well, first of all, going into the new year, to me, is always an intermediate or long-term objective that utilizing my new day resolutions. I have 5 daily practices which effectuate my new day resolutions. Everybody should have new day resolutions, not taking into consider the new year resolution every day, and the new, milestone resolution and the long-term resolution. What do I mean by that? Is that for me, I resolve myself every day. What am I going to do today? Taking into consideration things like, my son's going to graduate from high school in 6.5 years. So what am I going to do today? Planning for a milestone of that. Or I want to live to over 111 years old. Why 111? Because I was born on January 11th at 111. And I decided that I'm going to live past 111 at 111. Anyway, when we take into consider new day resolution. So the research that I'm doing is research on coherence to the new day resolution. What is coherence? Coherence is the glue. Coherence is the glue of reconciliation. I'm writing a book about reconciliation. Coherence from Dr. Sean Dill helped me, because I used to call it adherence, which is 2 different things colliding, but in putting together and gluing them together. But coherence is things that are one, holding or bonding together. And so coherence requires 2 different things. One, remembering what we want to do, and 2, doing it. And that's why New Year's resolutions are hard, because it's hard to remember for a whole year. But if you have new day resolutions and you're not afraid of being a hypocrite, changing your mind, learning lessons, the new day resolutions, utilizing coherence, remembering what you want, who you can help, who can help you, how you're going to get it done, and prioritization. That's right, prioritization, the antidote of procrastination and overwhelmness, of the antidote of living in the world of more than enough. Then you can apply your why. So I'm doing research on all the different facets of coherence, the ability to remember. And this is why I did the 14-day gratitude challenge. And you can hear from our friends how powerful it is. The easiest way to change your life is through gratitude. And it's free, and it takes 0.1 seconds. But why don't we do it? Everybody agrees. The biggest thought leaders in the world, Sadhguru, Deepak Chopra, Napoleon Hill, the list will go on, Neville Goddard, whoever you want, Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, doesn't matter. They all agree. Everyone. Gratitude is the easiest way to change your life. And so do the 14-day gratitude challenge, change your life, and utilize and learn coherence along the way. How to remember what our new day resolutions are, and how to actually prioritize them and do them. 100% of the things you do now get done. So let's use coherence and the gratitude challenge in order to effectuate that. Very good. Jake, why don't we bring on, I'm forgetting who you said was coming up next.
No worries. The community is loving the overlap agreement training, so we will definitely have to do that. But yes, here on Clubhouse, we've got Eric. Eric, if you can please unmute
Eric.
yourself and welcome to the room.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, David, for all that you do, really, and for sending me a copy of your book, Connected Goodness, earlier this year. I really like the section on the nth power, and you talk a lot about abundance and not having a scarcity mindset, and things being, let's say, not linear and exponential. It's a lot of what we're doing with some of the communities and people I'm working with my business, and really appreciated the story earlier today about your mom and the Ferrari as well. I'm a fan. And then I think one of the things that you said on the call today that resonated with me a lot was, I think you said something like feeling overwhelmed is proof you're living in abundance. And so that was reassuring because I constantly feel overwhelmed by million people, right?
Yeah.
So I think you talked about prioritization. I think I'm doing some of that for sure. I'm just wondering what else I can be doing, because I know for a fact I've taken on too much. I think like so many people.
Yeah.
And, in addition to maybe saying no or no thank you more often, taking stuff off my plate and things like that. But what else either can I think differently or do so that, I don't know, things get maybe a little bit better, maybe not so overwhelming?
Yeah. So one of the things that will help is the idea of the new day resolutions and understanding that we have 24 hours of man-made constructive time in order to have these activities. And when we're living in a world of more than enough and feeling overwhelmed, it's okay, because not only are we going to learn to prioritize, but what I want you to do is use 3 lenses in the prioritization process that allow you, in the context of man-made constructive time, 24 hours of activity you have planned, activity you don't have planned, and also utilizing your sleep, which may be one of the things that you're ignoring if you're not utilizing your sleep as a form of recovery and access. And if you're waking up like the majority of the people on earth, feeling overwhelmed, more tired than when you went to bed, more anxious than you went to bed, then you're doing something wrong. It's like eating a bunch of food and feeling hungry afterwards. You're doing something wrong, right? You're eating the wrong things. You're sleeping the wrong way. So I want everybody to understand these activities of plan, not planned, and sleep, but also activity you get paid for and not paid for. Try not to work within the context of anything to do with work, because work is a negative energy, right? There's just activity you get paid for. So 7 days a week, activity I don't get paid for, I vacation every day. But in that realm of prioritization, when we know what we want and we use these 3 lenses: 1, how productive, how much value is this activity going to provide? 2, a lens of accessibility, which is a bifocal. How accessible am I to others with this activity, and how am I accessing what I want to receive? And then finally, the utilizing what I call the great chain of bleeding or feeding, more I like to say the great chain of feeding, is use the prioritization mechanism of looking at gratitude as the final lens. How can I find the light, the love, and the lessons in this? And comparatively, in a prioritized way, does it feed me more than the other things? Or does it not feed me? Or does it bleed me? Because if it feeds me, that's a priority. I'm going to feed it. If it doesn't bleed me, I may let it fall away to the next day or later in the day or next week, next month, or next year. And if it bleeds me, I'm going to fire it. I'm not going to do it. And if it bleeds me and it's relative to me, meaning, my mom bleeds me, then I am going to determine how much time, energy, emotion, value, and money I'm going to spend on that relativity in order to effectuate the light, the love, and the lessons, because there's light, love, and the lessons. And I'll tell you that others are a mirror of us, and that the truth is reflected through forgiveness. And so if you have things that bleed you, especially people during the holidays that bleed you, which seems to be a common occurrence, I want you to remember that others are mirrors of ourselves, and that the truth is reflected through forgiveness. And when you bring light to a fence, the need to be right, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, which sounds like a family function to me, then you're going to want to use forgiveness to reflect on the truth that others are a mirror of you, and ask ourselves, how can I find the light, the love, and the lessons? Forgiveness will bring me peace, and accountability will bring me the lessons by asking myself, what did I do to attract this to myself, and what am I supposed to learn from it? Use the lens of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude find the light, the love, and the lessons. Use the new day resolutions, and I'll send those to people if they want. I have a 5 daily practice new day resolution document for the New Year's. We went over that training. So any of these things, just email me, david@dmeltzer.com, Eric, and I'd be happy to work with you. Being overwhelmed is amazing. You just have to learn what your non-negotiables are, how to prioritize, how to use these lenses. More than happy to help you, but you got the hard part done. Let's just put it that way. Living in abundance is the hard part. Now you got the pragmatic part, which is the easy part. It's just discipline, strategy, and awareness. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, it does. Thanks again.
Thank you, Dee. I appreciate it. All right, let's go take another question. Jake online. Who's on deck on Clubhouse?
We've got your 2 favorite letters. Gigi is on deck.
Nice. Gigi, awesome. All right. What did your parents teach you about giving? Well, I went through what my mom taught me about giving, about unconditional giving, about, to ask and to be unconditional, and what that meant. So, really my mom was the hinge pin of, the not enough, just enough, and more than enough worlds. And through her unbelievably, great behavior and the mistakes that she made, I learned. And speaking of those mistakes, my father has taught me more about giving than I think even my mom. And I had one of my associates lose their father recently, and their father was very much like my father, not the best father. And moments in my life, I remember, I was a very young boy in a motel, my dad pulling a guy out of the stairwell, bringing him into the coffee shop at the motel, and people staring at us, and my sister horrified by the smelly drunken mess that my dad pulled in with us. But it's funny because it's one of the few things I remember about my dad, that he acknowledged that man and helped him, and it impacted me, as you could tell. And although, man, my dad made a lot of mistakes, I learned about giving through those mistakes. And he lived more than anyone, in this world of just enough. Everything was a trade negotiation, manipulation, overselling, back and selling, lying, manipulating, and cheating. And he tried to teach me that when he gave me a jacket on my 30th birthday, as everyone knows, or most people know, with no pockets. And I remember telling him I hate him. He hadn't given me a gift in 20 years. I hated him. He said, "You're just like me. You think money buys love or happiness. You're just like me. You're living in the world of just enough. You're just like me." And I said, "I'm nothing like you. You're a liar, cheater, manipulator, overseller, back and so I'm nothing like you. I hate you. Others are a mirror of ourselves. And forgiveness is a true reflection." And so, although my mom, I always say I don't even know how my parents were married because they're so different, but they both have taught me in different ways, different lessons. And we can learn to find the light, the love, and the lessons, even if our expectations of what a parent is or does, it is us, how we receive the lessons. And both my parents, one who's an angel, the other may be perceived as the devil, but they both taught me equally amazing lessons, especially about giving, receiving, and witnessing. And I'm blessed to have them in my life. All right, Baker, the Jakey Bakey, why don't you reset the room and then bring my 2 favorite letters on board here? What do you say?
That sounds like an amazing plan, Dave. Thank you. We are here at the holiday training in the Road to Revenue Future Workroom on Clubhouse. Of course, David has been doing training for over 21 years. We've got 9 minutes left here. So if you'd like to ask a question on Clubhouse, we will try to bring up as many people as we can. David's 14-day gratitude challenge is there in the Clubhouse. Of course, email him, david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com if you'd like it. Yes, next up, Dave, here on Clubhouse, we've got Gigi. So Gigi, welcome to the room. Please feel free to unmute yourself. And yeah, welcome.
Yeah, hi, David. What you said also touched me, and I think it touched everyone. And since we are talking about the gratitude challenge, one of the reasons why I want to be here is to say thank you, because I'm still learning from you. The most important lessons is to ask and learn how to receive. And I think it's 1.5 years since we are working together, and my life has changed completely. Um, and this, I want to say thank you to everyone and your team. And also, I want to just say that David does what he said. I sent him an email asking for help, and he just helped me with that straight away. So, yeah, I'm so humbled to be here and listening to your story, because being the holiday seasons, we are all fighting with our parents, and we see things we don't like, we see things we like. And what I'm learning is to stay less and less in that energy. Um, so yeah, and yeah, I missed you, but I've been doing like other stuff. So I was like, I'm just gonna jump on, and because I need this. I usually when I'm not here, I'm listening them on replay. But yeah, I'm so touched, and because of you, I have the power to be vulnerable and show my emotions, which I believe that's the freedom, and that's what we all need. So thank you so much for everything. And even if you do the trainings for 20 years and it's the same, it always hits me different when, even if the same is, it's more in depth. So yeah, I just want to say, share gratitude and say you are one of the person that really changed my life.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm glad that you joined. I saw you in DM this morning and realized how much of an impact you've had on other people, which has impacted my life. You're someone who truly has taken in the idea of empowering others to empower others. And so thank you for everything that you do. Keep on keeping on, Gigi, and have a wonderful holiday. Let me take a question online, Jake, and then I think we have time for one more person, okay?
Yes, we've got Christina Madrigal to wrap us up when you're ready.
Oh, nobody better. Perfect. I like this question. When is it all right for us to be selfish? Always. Because it's not a matter of selfish if your intention is to give it away or to allow it to be stolen or taken away or lost. When things are taken from me, I always say, oh, they must have needed it more than me. Thank you, God, for delivering it to somebody that I wasn't delivering it to. It's an amazing. So always be selfish. You got to ask for more. I am telling you that there is something bigger than you that loves you more than you love your own children. So ask for it. And we are the hands and the feet of that expression of genius. We are the hands and feet of the higher source. So use your hands and feet and receive so that you can give. Appreciate everything that you receive, acknowledge it, and then ask for more. You need to be selfish all the time with the reconciliation and combination of giving, receiving, and witnessing. You need to be selfish because the more you receive, the more you can give. Shift the paradigm in the world of more than enough. Know that you can't give what you don't have. I'm going to repeat it. You can't give what you don't have. So be selfish all the time, as long as your intention is to give it away. Appreciate what you have, acknowledge it, acquire the knowledge, give it away, and then ask for more. There's a greater source that feels exactly like you feel about your own children and your parents feel about you, but they're omniscient, all powerful, and all knowing, unlike you, hopefully ignorant and humble, not ignorant and arrogant. So very good. All right, we got just enough time for Christina. Christina, what question do you have for me?
Hello, good morning. Oh my goodness. Everything that everybody said, yes, yes, yes. And Gigi, 1000%, you've helped me and inspired me. So thank you to Gigi. But this has been amazing. So my question, it's a perfect piggyback off of what you were just talking about, asking for more. And I've told you and that you and your team have completely changed my life. And I'm literally living my dream right now, which is blowing my mind. I'm so happy and I'm so fulfilled and it's so abundant. It's overwhelming in a wonderful way. So I don't really know what else to ask for.
Keep asking. Ask to keep asking. So no, that's really good, because there becomes a time when you live in the world of more than enough that you feel as if, wow, I have more than I've asked for. right? You have your dream job, you have all, these relationships in your life have healed, all the things that we work together on. And, I will say that one of the superpowers that you have, Christina, is coherence and consistency. You remember what you want to do, you do it, and you do it consistently, which is the formula of the conscious continuum of, I know because I work with so many people, the people who have had the transformation, the quantum shift in their life, that live in abundance, that are so happy, are people like you that have coherence and consistency. And now you have to take the next step, right? You have to remind yourself you're limiting yourself, right? It's that idea that I have to remind myself every day. I'm here in Bora Bora right now, and I look out and I think about, in fact, my kids at dinner asked me, they said, one of my children, one of my kids lives in the Midwest, and they said, Dad, I said something about, having a housekeeper, and the kids were like, I've never heard of anyone that had a housekeeper. What, like they were so amazed. And I said, yeah, that's how I grew up. Like that was my perspective. And I had no idea. And here I am, overlooking, over the water bungalow, overlooking paradise and everything I've ever dreamed of. And I said to myself at dinner, I got to ask for more. I can't limit myself. I can't limit myself. I want to give not only my children and my family, but everyone in the world. I want to give them abundance. I want to give everything that I have because I've been given a gift to receive, and I need to ask for more. And so I want you, for your New Day resolution, to ask for more and ask more often. And just, you'll be amazed come next time we get together. Oh my gosh, I was limiting myself. It was like when I wanted to live to 111 years old, and Diane Cannon said, Dave, what if the technology makes you live to 1,000, and you for 50 years have been telling everyone that you want to die on January 11th at 111 at 111 years old? You've limited 889 years of your life. Are you kidding me? Stop limiting yourself, Christina. Ask for more, ask bigger, ask more often. Everybody out there, remember, it's giving, receiving, and witnessing that creates the gift from God, the dose. The dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin and endorphins, the most viral thing in the world, happiness. Let's share it with everyone through giving, receiving, and witnessing. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate this. Is one of my favorite trainings. We'll be posting the holiday video. Please share that. Please let more people witness giving, receiving, and let more people share in the dose of happiness that is given to us in this realm, in the body. An amazing feeling that allows us. Please join me on the 14-day gratitude challenge. You can hear the impact that it's had on all these people. David@dmeltzer.com. If you want the giving worksheet or the overlap agreement, same, David@dmeltzer.com. I am grateful for you all. You are all a gift to and through me in a world of more than enough. Look forward to joining you. David@dmeltzer.com. Remember, most importantly, everyone, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
Thank you, Dave. And you are definitely a gift to us all as well.
I want you to go in under the context of the greatest gifts are given and received and witnessed. Make sure you look people in the eye and tell them they're blessed. What I have found is no matter how much you teach giving, that it's an extremely experiential thing. I went to New York with $100 bills, and anyone I felt needed it for any reason, I gave it away, because I have found that that experience matches nothing else that I can do. I walk away crying, I feel so good, and I've never felt that way in spending $100,000. I've never felt the same way that it feels. The idea of giving and receiving is that it is the Holy Spirit of when you give of yourself. You need to really appreciate what you have and acknowledge it. I want you to go in under the context of the greatest gifts are given and received and witnessed. You're going to buy somebody what they need. So you're going to go somewhere where you can buy the whole line at Starbucks. You can go to the mom that's, you can see her looking at the prices and putting things back. Whatever you do, you're going to use that money in that manner. Make sure you look people in the eye and tell them they're blessed.
Today we are giving back to those who need it during this holiday time. Be grateful for what you have, and the more you receive, the more you can give.
even though there was a language barrier and we didn't necessarily know what we were saying to each other, or didn't know what I was saying, he still understood that the whole purpose was to get back to him.
And we throw that money away all the time without appreciating, taking for granted what other people are wishing for.
It really hit home because as a child, my parents didn't have a lot to give. Even when we went to like the 99-cent store, or, you know, like a Ross or Toys R Us. But as kids, you know, we'd run up to something and they're like, sorry, we can't do that right now. But just to see the eyes glow on the little girl that she was with, and it was just amazing, amazing experience.
The kid grabs his fire truck, and then in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know, let's get more. And she kept saying like too much. And so I was like, no, let's get more. And the kid like was just in love with his fire truck now. Like he wouldn't take his eyes off it. So I was like, screw this. So I went outside and I got a shopping cart, and I came back in and I see this like car, like the Mercedes little like car that a kid can drive around. So it's like for age 3 to 6. So I grabbed that, I put it in the cart, and I turn the corner, and she looks at me, and she just starts crying. And I like tap the box, and I'm like, for your son? And she just starts crying, and she's just like, no. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, we're filling this cart up. And she just literally just kept saying like, too much. And I was like, no, you're giving us a gift. You're allowing us to give to you, like, you know, thank you. And so we eventually like check out, and her son starts crying, and she's like, oh, where's the fire truck? All he wanted was the fire truck. And it like just made me realize like how much we take for granted. We're like, this kid was just like, all he cared about was his fire truck. And her mom just kept saying like, grab any toy. Because I just kept thinking in the back of my mind, like, I want her to go home and feel like to be a hero for her kids, that like it doesn't matter what the gifts are, but the fact that her tree is gonna be like loaded with gifts, and that her kids are gonna think, you know, her parents are heroes. Even if it's just a little Barbie doll with a fact that there's just gonna be like a lot more gifts under the tree.
And they may never forget that Christmas.
Yeah.
Remember how you feel. You know, I've had so many moments this year where I've been able to identify how I feel and comparatively say, God, I feel much better helping other people with this. You know, if I have a choice now, I know where I'm giving my money, where it makes me feel best. And so we want to teach people that. I think that's a great aspect of being able to provide for people, is to be able to provide for ourselves that perspective.